I really. Alright. Was I just not recording that whole thing? Don't even tell me. If I wasn't, I'm gonna be so pissed. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and restart the show because I don't believe I was recording for the latest segment that I just had for the last 5 minutes. So if you were tuned in already, I appreciate it. The show will start momentarily. I'm gonna run a couple ads for Fans Only Sports, and we'll get right into the show. Alright. And boom, we're live again. Um, for those of you that already have been tuned in for a while, my apologies on the delay. I was recording and I went through for about 10 minutes on a segment about UFC 271 and Islam Makhachev potentially going on the pod bet for UFC 272 until I realized that I was not actually entered into the podcast stream. So I'm going to quickly go back over that. We do have a pretty good show today. We have a really good main event for this weekend between Makhachev and Bobby Green. There's also a bunch of other interesting fights on the card. And then in 2 weeks' time, we have the UFC 272 pay-per-view, which is really stacked. People are not giving this pay-per-view enough credit. I know I say that about a lot of pay-per-views, but 2 weeks out, we have multiple top 15 fights on the card for UFC 272, including one of the biggest grudge matches that people have been waiting for a long time between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. So we're going to get into all that in just a couple minutes, but for right now, I want to talk about the main event coming up this weekend and Islam Makhachev versus Bobby Green. So, one of these names, everybody in the know, everybody that's really been watching UFC is familiar with. And that's Islam Makhachev. Makhachev's been on a tear. He's been on a 9-fight win streak. He only has 2 ranked wins, but his dominance in every one of his fights, especially in his last couple, have really propelled him to the top of the division. Currently sitting in the lightweight division at the 4th ranked contender. He has the second best win streak in the division, only behind Charles Oliveira. And his first opponent for this fight has the third. Beneil Dariush was also on a tear in the lightweight division with a mixture of submission and knockout wins. I believe it was a 7-fight win streak. Whose fighting style matches up really well with Makhachev. This was going to be a super interesting wrestling match. It was going to be between two of the strongest fighters in the division and by the 2 best wrestlers in the division. I think that's pretty clear to say. Poirier is really great. Gaethje has some wrestling background. Oliveira is good at wrestling, but his jiu-jitsu propels his wrestling to another level. Just pure wrestling. Dariush is number 2, Makhachev's number 1 in the division right now. And Dariush unfortunately hurt his leg over the last couple weeks and had to step out from this really well-placed main event, you know. Fight nights don't carry as much water as they used to, even though they have been big over the last couple of years. We have 2 or 3 every month, and we've seen a lot of changes in the main events, just like we saw last week when the scheduled main event between Rafael Fiziev and Rafael dos Anjos got moved to the pay-per-view next week, and Jamal Hill versus Johnny Walker stepped in. So we see a lot of main events for the fight nights getting changed. We kind of see a repetition of these top 15 guys that They won't sell for pay-per-view buys, but it's an interesting matchup, so they'll give him a fight night main event. And this was not going to be one of those fights. This was one of the, coming into 2022, for the fights that we knew were close to being scheduled or being scheduled, this was probably the most exciting one. Makhachev versus Darush was going to be a 5-round fight, and it was likely to go the distance between both of these guys, trading takedowns and wrestling sweeps and submission attempts here and there, and it was going to be a really good time. But Beneil Dariush got hurt, and he's going to be out of commission for a while, so in steps Bobby Green. Bobby Green, I kind of gave a bad rap to at the beginning because I said most people don't know him. That's not true. He's been in the UFC for a long time. He just doesn't have the exposure because he's never really been ranked, or at least he hasn't been ranked in several years. And his win this weekend over Nasrat Haqparast was huge for him. He doubled up the strikes. It was 180 strikes to 95 in favor of Bobby Green. He also did it flashy. He had great head movement. He was able to entertain the crowd, and because of that, he kind of had a spotlight on him on Twitter and in social medias, which is good for him. He deserves it. He's been in the UFC for a while. But I think that his popularity might have gotten ahead of him because he takes this fight against Islam Makhachev on 10 days' notice. He takes it right after he goes 15 rounds with Nasrat Haqparast. And I commend him for it. And Bobby Green is nothing but a professional and an excellent mixed martial artist. But he's not ready for it. Islam Makhachev is a minus 900 favorite against Bobby Green. Now, we haven't seen those numbers since Amanda Nunes was in the peak of her power. Or Valentina Shevchenko, I guess you could also say. To put it into perspective, Islam Makhachev's number against Beneil Dariush was minus 350, which is a huge favorite. And that's against the number 4 ranked contender, or the number 3 ranked contender in the world. And now you put him against a guy who's not even ranked and has not fought anybody ranked in a long time and is coming off a 15-minute fight just 2 weeks ago. So I applaud Bobby Green. I think it's really cool that he's stepping in. But he's about to get he's going to get his ass kicked, and Islam Makhachev is going to take him down, and he's going to talk shit to him, and if he doesn't submit him in the first round, it's just because he's too busy beating the crap out of him ground and pound. The most interesting thing for me, this is a 5-round fight, and the under 2.5 is minus 130. I will be hammering that under. I think that is a very easy under to take. And I think that I'm going to be throwing that under 2.5 on the pod bet for next week, for UFC 272 pay-per-view. Now, for people that have been following us, and like I said earlier, the pod bet for UFC 271 didn't go as planned. You know, we were riding a really big high. We had done so well going into 271 with 4 of the last 5 pay-per-views hitting on the pod bet. And we came up 1 bet short for UFC 271. We took the under 4.5 for Adesanya Whitaker. And the fight went to a decision, so we did not hit the pod bet. We hit every other bet. I believe we had Adesanya moneyline. We had Casey O'Neill moneyline. And we had Derek Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa under 1.5. So it was almost a clean sweep right up until the last 2 minutes of the pay-per-view. Sucks, but you know, we're going to be doing a lot more with the pod bet. We're going to hopefully hit this 2 weeks from now's time, because UFC 272 has a lot of really interesting fights, a lot of good fights. And I think the Makhachev versus Green under will be added to that pod bet. So that's the first glimpse of you guys getting any pod bet information. Throughout the podcast tonight, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the fights at UFC 271, so I'll be able to give you kind of some insight into what I'm thinking about. If Austin gets here in time, he'll be able to tell you what he's thinking about too. And, you know, I have a good feeling about UFC 272. We were so close in 271, and we've been so great for the last couple months that I sincerely think that we are just catching fire, and 2022 is going to be our year for the pod bet. So that's my take on Makhachev versus Green. I think Makhachev's going to get as many takedowns as he wants in the first 2 rounds, and the only reason he doesn't get 5 is because Bobby Green submitted already. What's up, man?
You get it up here?
Yeah. I'm just doing like an audio podcast today.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk about the fight night coming up, the bets, pod bet next week, shit like that.
Oh, what are they? Oh, yeah. Is it? Are you? Oh, we're on.
Oh yeah, we're
Okay.
good. I don't really know where I was gonna set this up, but I think that honestly should be fine. What's going on, man?
Not much, man.
Won some money last week.
Me?
Yeah, didn't we? I did.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
at the bar talking about it.
Yeah, I did. But not sports betting.
Well, we had Jamal Hill. We had.
Oh, yeah, that, yeah. Yeah, I won money on that, yeah.
Yeah.
I won,
Nice.
yeah, but I won on, roulette, too, I thought.
Oh, right. You
Yeah,
and,
yeah, I'll just tell it for the pod, bro. It was a fucking crazy night. You don't expect that shit. Just a little story.
Mm-hmm.
Playing roulette, I scatter those motherfuckers, bro. The chips I'm talking about. Singles. I always bet Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Messi, Ronaldo, 20, 17, 22, but I go after like Paul Pierce. I was betting heavy Paul Pierce that night too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Larry Bird, number 33, dude. 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. Put more chips on it every single time. The fucking stack of chips was 2 feet tall, dude. 2 feet tall.
You getting everybody else?
Everybody else was
putting
the whole table. The whole table was betting. When I said the bird, they're like, "Oh, I like that." And then everyone else put out. So there was one girl put like $30 on him at the end, dude. She had a stack of chips on him.
Nice.
Yeah. And then double suited on the aces. Ace of spades. Double suited ace of spades. Split them. Blackjack twice.
Nice.
And that was it. And that's the story.
Yeah, that was the night you guys got out of there at like 4 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
we were there till 3:30. We were there until the crackheads were sitting at the tables, and then we were like, okay,
Time to go.
time to go.
Yeah, and we won a little bit of money off the UFC last weekend too.
Yeah, I hammered Jamal Hill.
It wasn't Jamal Hill. It was I put a lot of money on Jim Miller money line. I had Miller and I had Jamal Hill on a parlay that hit. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't put too much on because I knew I was going to be putting more on the pod bet this week because I want to add not Makhachev to the pod bet, but the under 2.5 between Makhachev and Green. It's a 5-round fight, by the way.
Yeah.
Under 2.5 is minus 130.
I like that.
And I think Makhachev's going to be able to steamroll Bobby Green.
Oh yeah, and another thing, I had a 10-team parlay, $5 last night for $840.
One off.
One off.
Yep.
LA Kings over 5.5, bro. Empty netter. This shit was inches away from going in. Inches away from going into the fucking net, and it didn't go in.
Ain't that a bitch? It's always the fucking last one too.
Didn't go in, dude. It was a sweat. It was a good sweat. That's only like $5, so I was like, whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, that happened last night. I've been on a heater, man. Been on a heater.
I saw you tweeted about Terrence McKinney.
Oh yeah, I might just hammer him instead of putting a pod bet. I might just.
You think so?
Yeah, I might just
don't like
put
McKinney.
7 units on him.
I don't like McKinney.
I like him.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put units on him.
The under's the favorite in that, by the way.
Yeah, 'cause
Under
he has
2.5.
5. He has 5 first-round knockouts in his career. Dude, he's the guy that jumped up on the cage and hurt his knee.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the same dude.
He's
kind of
he's
tank,
fighting
and
a
he's been-
guy who has been training with Khabib's camp.
Yeah, well, he's been training wrestling. That was my next thing I was gonna say. He's been training wrestling this whole time. Whole time that he's been not fighting in fights because I'm pretty sure he got called out.
Terrence McKinney's
canceled
fighting
last
Fares Ziam. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Fares Ziam, Z-I-A-M, last name. In a fight that a lot of people expected McKinney to open up as the favorite. He opened up, actually, I want to say at like plus 130. Now down to plus 105. The lines are evening out. And Ziam has been talking a little bit of shit. And he's been training with Khabib. But McKinney's been training wrestling. So it's a pretty close fight. Bantamweight fight. And I would take the under on it. Because like you said, McKinney has finishes. I just don't like the under for bantamweight fights. There's a couple other good fights on the card. I might put a little bit of money on Wellington Turman, who's fighting Misha Serkinov. I might put some money on Priscilla Cachoeira.
Yeah.
Priscilla Cachoeira is the one who stopped Miranda Maverick, and she's only 23 years old. I think she has a fucking huge future in the company. And she's a plus 140 underdog, so I like those odds too. And what do you think about Islam Makhachev being minus 900?
It's not worth the sweat.
When's the last time you saw a male fight with odds like that?
Islam Makhachev was like minus 900, minus 700.
What, against Dan Hooker?
Thiago Moses. It was like minus 700.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. That was a pretty... I mean,
was it Moises? Or was
Moises
it...
was like 14th ranked, so it was a good
recently.
rank. But yeah, I think you're probably right. I couldn't really think of any. I don't know if I've ever seen one at minus 900 for males. And I mean, I'm going to put money on it. I'm going to put a parlay of Makhachev moneyline and the under, because I'm going to take the under anyway, so you might as well. Parlay probably fetch you around, like, I don't know, plus 140 with both of those.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think about the pod bet for UFC 272?
What is it?
Well, do you want to do it? Because I know when we were talking about it, you'd said you didn't
I got
really know
picks.
if
I
you
already
wanted
made
to
some
do it.
picks, dude. I like Justin Jacoby for next. I like next week's card a lot. In March, a lot better than this week's.
Well, the next week's card is the pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, that one's got some fucking fights in it.
I know. It has a lot of good fights.
Like this one, I got Terrence McKinney, Nurmagomedov, Dustin Jacoby, Bryce Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Mitchell's fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Against Edson Barbosa.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a good fight, but
I think
Bryce
people
Mitchell's too good on the ground, bro.
I think people are going to be surprised at how great Barbosa's takedown defense is.
Yeah, well, this guy's really good. Kevin Holland's fighting.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting, I saw Greg Hardy. Now, I'm a basher of him, and I do not like him, but he's plus 180.
Yeah, and he's fighting ranked heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's fighting the number 15th ranked Sergey Spivak.
Now, that's interesting at plus 180 at heavyweight. It's fucking Greg Hardy, dude.
Mm-hmm.
If he hits him, he's going down. Now,
My only thing is, I know Sergey Spivak.
Oh yeah, like this guy.
He can box. He can box really well, but if he has any ground game at all, I would take Spivak, because Greg Hardy has absolutely zero ground game.
I took this one a while ago. I took Buckley McKinney, Jamal Hill, Dawkins, and Islam Makhachev. But Islam Makhachev was minus 370 versus Darush.
Dawkins, the one fighting in like a month's time? That against Blades?
No, Jimmy Pickett. It already happened.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah. I took Buckley, Dawkins, Jamal Hill, McKinney, and but Makhachev's, that's a scratch. So it really is just McKinney left.
I like Dustin Jacoby. I like Tim Ulanbekov.
Alex Oliveira
I don't like Alex Oliveira. I think Kevin Holland's
is going to
win.
get his shit rocked.
Yeah. I like Yan Zhao Nan at plus 230, by the way.
I really think this week is this week's really just like a scratch, dude. Personally, I'd rather just put like a couple units on McKinney and sweat that one fight. I don't like the fights in this card. I really don't.
You don't like... But what about the under 2.5 for Makhachev Green?
Yeah, I mean, he says he's going to bring him down in 2 minutes. But he also says he's going to stand with him, too. He says that they're going to talk in the ring, and then he's going to bring him down to the ground. So he's not going to bring him down right away. He basically said that. He's like, he's going to stand, he's going to talk to me. And then he said, I'm going to bring him down to the ground, and then I'll talk to him, and I'll ask him questions. That's what he said.
Because Bobby Green said he was going to be talking shit while they're standing, and then as soon as they go down, Islam's... I mean, he's right. Like, Bobby Green's just going to shut the fuck up as soon as they get to the ground.
This is crazy. Look at...
But, oh, yeah, this is the Volkanovski Ortega. We're watching 2021 year in review on YouTube right now. What were we just saying?
We were talking about the under 2.5.
Right, we were talking about Makhachev and Green. Yeah.
And he reversed them right here too, bro. Like, it's so crazy.
And Bobby Green is a striker. Yeah. You know, that's what he's really... He has good head movement. He has pretty decent jabs. And I don't even think he's as good of a striker as Makhachev.
Fucking triangle right here. Look, he's got the fucking triangle.
Okay.
Alright, when was this fight?
Was this UFC December? 266. This was September.
This was September?
September, October. No, it was September. Yep, it was. Because Oliveira Gaethje was December. Usman Covington was November. Teixeira Blachowicz was October. This was September.
Yeah, they should fight again, I guess.
Volkanovski.
And then he reverses it. Now he's on top, beating him up. It's so.
This was my pick for fight of the year. I thought that this was the best fight of the year last year. I can't remember what we picked, but I know this was either one or two. Volkanovski's going to be fighting Chan Sung Jung.
Yeah, you like Chan Sung Jung?
No. No, Volkanovski's going to absolutely shit on him.
Oh, no. What did you say before? Who's minus 230? Chan Sung Jung? Or whatever?
Yan Jianan?
Yan Jianan, yeah. They all have
plus 230.
Plus 230? Yeah, I ain't taking that. Yan
Jianan was the girl. Remember when we had the 2-leg parlay with her and Hermanson, and I said it was the most confident I've ever been on a bet? And then Hermanson won and Jianan got fucked up. That was Jianan. Yeah, she got a bad rap, and now she's fighting a girl, Marina Rodriguez, who's...
Marina Rodriguez is good.
Really good. Good. But Marina Rodriguez
Brazilian,
is a stand-up fighter, and she's fighting...
I'm thinking of someone else, but I do know who you're talking about.
So, Jianan got exposed against Carla Esparza, who's a really good wrestler, and she just took Jianan to the ground and beat her up the whole time. Jianan now has a chance to fight a top-ranked striker in Rodriguez. I don't know if I really think she's going to win, but I do think that the plus 230 is worth it. So I'm going to put some money on Jianan. I'm going to put some money on Ulanbekov. I'm going to put some money on... I don't know if I wanted Kevin Holland at minus 240. I don't think that's worth it. Against Alex Oliveira.
Oh, you were just thinking about Islam Makhachev at minus 800.
Well, no, I said I'm going to be taking...
Minus 240 is a good number.
I'm taking the under for that. But I mean, I guess I did because I'm going to take the parlay money line with the under. Because if the under hits, it's going to be...
You're going to take Makhachev too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to put Makhachev's under on the pod bet. But I'm going to have a parlay myself just for Makhachev and the under.
10-teamer or a 9-teamer. And I was like, who the fuck else am I going to put on this? Then I put Makhachev. You know what I mean? Because then
minus 900, it's just
you're
so
going to get like plus
it.
100 for
him. We haven't even talked about the main event either. Masvidal versus Covington. One of the biggest grudge matches of the last 3 years. Everybody's been trying to get this fight to happen. It's finally happening.
Oh yeah,
it's a little bit late. Masvidal, if it would have happened a year ago in between his two fights with Usman, that would have been better. Covington obviously just had a big fucking war with Usman 3 months ago in a fight that I think Covington showed that he really is a top fucking welterweight. Usman's just above everybody.
He's kind of fucking him up right here. Oh,
Usman won the first 2 rounds, and then Colby possibly won the next 2. And so he didn't get the job done, of course, but now he's going to be fighting Jorge Masvidal in a fight that I think Covington is just going to obliterate him. I think it's not going to be close.
no.
Masvidal has good takedown defense, but Colby's going to be relentless, and I think that...
Dude, they were roommates. Like, he knows all their moves. They were in the same camp. They
Right.
were partners. Literally sparring partners.
For years and years.
Years and years and years.
And now Colby's putting up the act. He's talking shit.
Not
in
a lot
the way
of shit,
that
though.
only Colby can. Well, he...
Not
I mean,
a
not
lot.
as much as Usman.
Yeah. But he's doing what he does to sell the fight.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
Calling him Street Judas.
Yeah.
You
This
know,
fight.
shit like that. Saying, I knocked you out when we were kids. I'll do it again. But we come to expect that from Covington.
Yeah.
Covington minus 330.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I was going to bet on it. But, you know, what's that fight? That fight's in March. That's the fight.
Yeah, it's
All
2
the
weeks
fights
time.
on. Yeah. Yeah, I think he should be on the pod bet.
I do too. I definitely think he should be on the pod bet.
But, like, we can do a bet from this take. I really can't. You could take fights from this card and the next card that are locks, dude, and then do a parlay or do a pod bet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because every time we do that, it hits. It hits every time we do that.
Well, that's what I've been saying about the under 2.5. That's what I want to do. I think Covington, mind you, the over-unders aren't going to be out by the time that Makhachev and Green fight. So we
Does
won't be able to
Covington
add
finish
that
him?
on the pod bet.
In 5 rounds?
I don't think so. I don't think he does.
Like, when's the last time Kobe's finished somebody?
That's a good question. He didn't finish Woodley.
Hey Siri,
Maybe Dos Anjos? I think it was Dos Anjos.
when's the last time Kobe Covington? Yeah, you did it. But I think it does go 5 rounds.
Oh, he
because
did
they have-
finish Woodley. He finished Woodley with 1 minute gone in the 5th round. So if it was
would have been the under.
if it was 4.5, it would have been the under, yeah. And then his previous 5 wins were all by decision.
Yeah, so over.
Yeah, I would take the over.
Him in the over. We don't have to put McKinney on the pod bet, but his number is really good at plus 110.
Well, here's what I'm saying. The over-under isn't out yet. So if you want to add Makhachev's under 2.5, which I do, we wouldn't be able to do over-unders for the pay-per-view. Either way, though, Covington, money line.
How? How wouldn't we be able to?
Because they're not out.
Doesn't he fight tomorrow? Islam?
Those are out. The pay-per-views, over-unders, are not out.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
I don't know. Dude, like, there's going to be a lot of really interesting fights, and I don't know who's going to win any of them besides Colby.
Stipe is literally just fucking getting pieced the fuck up right now. Like, he knows he's fucked, right? Yo,
This
if
is
we
still the
watched this
first round,
fight, we
too.
would have. If we watched this fight before he fought again, we would have hammered him.
I did hammer him.
Oh yeah, well we did, but
I was never a big fan of Cyril Gane anyway. I don't know if Stipe...
he shook him up a little.
Yeah. Oh, that hammer fist at the end, too. Stipe will never be the same. He's old.
He's 38 right there, dude. He's
Yeah.
too old for that shit.
He's, they're still pushing the fight between him and John Jones.
Dude, did you see the video of John Jones slamming
the
his
arrest
head
video?
into the cop car?
He was fucked up. He was drunk as shit.
He's
He just got inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah, just needs to stay out of Vegas, man.
And that's what Dana said. He didn't want him at the Hall of Fame ceremony because he was at Vegas. But yeah, that was a bad look for Jones. He's been really active on Twitter lately too.
Oh yeah, I know.
Apparently his fiance just left him. He's saying that he's sad and lonely. should get in the gym.
Well, that's what he said about the video. He said that he can deal with embarrassment, but he can't with being sad and lonely.
Yeah, I saw that. He came out today and said that his fiance left him. I can't blame her. Like the report that came out of why he got arrested in the first place.
I feel for both of them. I hope they figure it out.
They do have 2 kids together.
You know, I can definitely see how that fucks them up.
Yeah, I can see where the separation lies. Do you think John Jones will be back in 2022?
Yeah, probably, but...
Like, who would he fight? If you're going to have a fight with John Jones, I can see how both parties would want it to be for the title right away. You know?
Obviously.
I don't think...
John Jones shouldn't. He should fight Stipe.
Well, I think John Jones' case, he definitely wants to fight for the title. He doesn't think he deserves anything less than a title shot, which I agree with. But I also think that the UFC wouldn't want to put him against like Stipe or someone like that for the far chance that he gets knocked out and he didn't get the pay-per-view buys that a title shot would sell.
Yeah.
And I also don't know what's going to happen with Ngannou because Ngannou's going to be out for a while, dude. He tore both of his fucking legs before that fight. That's why he was wearing knee pads.
He's under contract too, and...
Yeah, but he's injured.
He's
going to be out.
No, yeah, but he's still under contract, so this is just a longer fucking process.
Right.
And...
The heavyweight division's really going to be on hold. You got Stipe, you got Cyril Gane, Tai Tuivasa just entered the top 5 at the number 3.
Yeah.
He went from 13 ranked to knocking out Derek Lewis in Houston and going to number 3 right away. 6-fight win streak for him, 6-fight finish streak. The obvious choice for me is Stipe. I think Stipe versus John Jones sells the best. I think a fight between him and Cyril Gane is better. I think that's a way closer fight. But Stipe would sell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
I hope Rose fucking fights soon.
Rose is going to fight Carlos Barza in June, I think. 275, they're looking for it.
Yeah.
Make sure you tune in to our live stream for UFC 272, March 5th. We're going to be streaming from 10 p.m. all the way to 1 a.m. through the entire pay-per-view, as we do for all pay-per-views. Check us out every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Go follow us on our Twitter and our YouTube page, which is cleverly right at the bottom of your screen right now. We got a couple more things to get to, trying to iron out more stuff for the pod bet. We're going to be looking at the fights for this weekend. There's a couple other fights that we can talk about for the rest of the month. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we do get back, we'll answer all those questions, go over the best odds.
I want to talk about Kazmat Kamaev versus Usman.
Okay. And once we do get back, we're going to get through all of that stuff. So, quick commercial break, and we'll see you in a minute. Alright, we're back. So, yeah. I like Covington. I like Rafael Fiziev as well. He's in the co-main event versus Rafael Dos Anjos. I like the under for Makhachev. And I don't know what the fourth bet would be for the pod bet. Greg Hardy's interesting. Yan Xiaonan is interesting. Umar Nurmagomedov is interesting, but he's minus 550.
Minus 550, huh?
He's fighting Brian Kelleher. I think Saeed Nurmagomedov was minus 190, and that's the best odds you're ever going to see Nurmagomedov have again. Until one of them loses, at least.
Yeah, I don't see them. I don't see that camp losing for a while. I mean, Darush could have beaten Makhachev.
Yeah, I was really sad to see that fight wasn't going to happen because I thought that was a really good matchup.
It was a really good matchup, and it was honestly, if Darush gets on top of him, I would like to see what Makhachev was going to do.
Right.
Because I think Darush is heavier than him.
I definitely would say that he's heavier. Darush...
Like, they weigh in the same, but I think...
be stronger, too. Like, he's just a big 155er.
Stronger, which means a lot in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Flip him over. Sorry, we're watching McGregor Poirier now. I think it's very possible that fight could have gone the distance and Darush could have gotten like a decision win, maybe. I think that would come down to like control time and maybe actual like who would be better in the clinch. Would they even clinch up?
Makhachev would have won.
Yeah, Makhachev would have won.
And I think Makhachev would have got more takedowns, but I think Darush might have been the best option of anybody in the division as far as limiting his wrestling control, because Darush would be able to hold sweeps, and I think he has better bottom game than a lot of other people. So Makhachev wouldn't have been able to be as dominant, but I still think he would have been on top for most of the time. And that's what would have really sold the fight for him anyway. But we're not going to get to see it. Darush does have a leg injury, so he'll probably be out for a while. And Bobby Green,
his leg.
On 10 days' notice, just stepped into the fight. I feel for him, man. Like, it's a good story for Bobby Green. He's going to get paid pretty well. I'm happy for him, but he's not ready for Makhachev. Not even close. And that's... Alright, so basically got through everything I got to talk about. We're going to hammer through the pod bet soon. Oh. Make sure you look for it on Twitter when we kind of put out what the actual pod bet's going to be. Like I said, go follow us on our Twitter at @complete_MMA and go check out our YouTube page, MMA Complete Podcast. We're going to have a finalized pod bet for you next week. We are 4 of the last 6 for pod bets, so hopefully we can get a 5 out of 7. We can make some money. You got anything? No.
No doctor stoppage. No doctor stoppage.
Was that the last doctor stoppage we saw in a big fight?
Yeah.
Was the trilogy?
Yeah.
Because when was the fucking Diaz-Masvidal fight? That was a while ago. That was probably like 2019.
Yeah.
Baddest motherfucker win by doctor stoppage.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the soundbite of McGregor after he loses to Diaz? He says, I will take this loss and I will learn from it. I'm going to be humble about it. He was the better man tonight. I will train. I will get better. And then it cuts to the soundbite of this fight where he says, "Your wife is in me, dams." It's fucking hilarious. All right, that's going to do it. Quick podcast today. Go check out our Twitter when we put out our pod bet, because we are going to be putting that in the next couple days. And then make sure you follow us on our... make sure you go check out our podcast next week, and the live reactions we'll be doing on March 5th from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. all the way for UFC 272.
Usman, dude. I think Kamaev can beat Usman for champion. I really do. I think that's the only guy that's be able to do it.
I don't think anybody's going to be able to do it, but I think that you're right. Kamaev would have the best shot. I think that Usman beats Kamaev. I think Kamaev hasn't fought anybody that good. I would really be interested to see Kamaev versus Burns, because that's what they're looking at right now. That's what they're trying to get. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're out of here. Have a good night.